please keep the poster on screen.
Sir, where will you be sharing the YouTube link with us?
Ma'am, I am sending it to Pameli, ma'am.
Okay.
Devanshi is not being able to share screen, sir. I think she's still disabled or something.
Ma'am, I made Devanshi as co-host. I'll check once again.
Yes, sir. Devanshi, also keep an eye.
Ma'am, see her mail, Malika ma'am's mail.
Oh, both of them have to share, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay. Devanshi Bajaj. All right. Yes, she's a co-host now, so I think they will be able to, but still, multiple participants can share simultaneously. Yes, ma'am. Ask them to try once again. I think they will be able to do it now.
Devanshi, just try once. Once you try, then we can start. We are already on time. Our guests have joined, so we can start on time.
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'll stop sharing there.
Yes, it's visible. Mahi, can you just... Okay. So, sir, we are starting. Raika, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
So we have our guests here. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Nice to have you here, sir, again. You are the most enthusiastic member of our staff. You always are there for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Purnima, ma'am. She just joined, and so let's start. Raika.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Raika, let's start.
Yes, ma'am. A very good morning to everyone. Wendell Phillips eloquently said, "The heritage of the past is the seed that brings forth the harvest of the future." We, the members of the Heritage Club, welcome you all today for the inaugural event of SSA in collaboration with INTAC, Kolkata celebration of World Heritage Week 2022. Every year from 19th to 25th November, under the aegis of UNESCO, World Heritage Week is celebrated to promote the rich heritage and varied culture of the world. Our theme this year has been the impact of climate on both tangible and natural heritage. The selected theme of heritage and climate offers the opportunity to respond to questions such as how to employ climate justice and equity to protect heritage and the ways in which we may achieve equitable protection of vulnerable communities through climate action. Like any other auspicious beginning, we too will begin our journey with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May we now request our respected principal, Mrs. Shunglu, to address the gathering.
Very good morning to all present. I can see Mr. Kapoor here. It gives me great pleasure to welcome each one of you to this wonderful platform where we celebrate our heritage and we discuss the impact of the environment on the heritage. So a warm welcome to our special guests. We have Mr. Kapoor here. I hope Ms. Jalan is here. I can't see her.
Yes,
This is the challenge. Thank you. Welcome for coming. Welcome to you, ma'am, for coming. And thank you for taking this time out. And Ms. Purnima Dutt as well. I can see Ms. Chatterjee. I hope I can see Mrs. Bansal and all the teachers and the students present here today. As an educator, I think there's a little resonance. As an educator and as a citizen, I feel it is our responsibility to make sure that the planet is healthier than it is and wholesome for our children in the coming years. The process of celebrating the heritage has three phases, according to me. The first is, of course, to share this awareness, to delve into our heritage, whether it's natural or it is cultural or it is man-made. We share this heritage and we take this awareness to different sections of society, to our parents, to our teachers, to our staff that works for us and the communities around us. The next stage, I believe, is to reflect critically and to think, where can we make an impact? As a school, at this age, our students at the age that they are, where can we consciously make an impact that could be sustainable? Even for 5 years, 10 years, because all these things snowball. Good also snowballs like bad. The third and final stage is to take up projects that we consistently work upon. And I think the Heritage Week is a celebration of the first phase of sharing and firstly, expanding the boundaries of our awareness. And just another word about the second phase and the second. I think we need to do a lot more of the second phase, more of reflection, more of critical thinking as to how we can impact at least the community around us to become a beacon of change. And the final stage is to have sustainability projects, not only within school, but around the community, seeing what the need is. We can use the tinkering lab in school, the design lab in school, the teachers, the skill that we already have in school to bring about that change. And hoping each one of you children will make this impact on another 100 people as you carry this forward, right? So congratulations to all the teachers who have put this week together and we are going forward with it. I'm very happy to share that normally I don't travel for award ceremonies, but I'm going tomorrow to Delhi because I believe this is very important that we are in the final stages of the Sustainability Development Awards, International Awards with other schools. And I'm not going to claim an award. I'm going to learn there and see what children and students are doing in other schools across the country and abroad so that I can bring back some fresh ideas to you. I will, of course, present what we have done in the last few years as sustainability projects in our school, both for heritage and for sustainability. So all the best, keep the flag flying high and have a wonderful morning. And we're looking forward to hearing from all our experts.
Thank you, ma'am, for always guiding us. Now may I request my fellow Heritage Club member, Sudarshan Kejriwal, to kindly introduce our chief guest, Mr. G.M. Kapoor.
G.M. Kapoor is the director, Intact Conservation Institute, Kolkata. Intact is India's largest non-profit membership organization dedicated to conservation and preservation of India's natural, cultural, living, tangible, and intangible heritage. Its mission is to sensitize the public about the pluralistic cultural legacy of India, instill a sense of social responsibility towards preserving the common heritage of the country, document unprotected buildings of the archaeological significance, and develop policy and regulation towards the country's heritage. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And as usual, it's always a great pleasure to be here. I must say very, very clearly that I always accept this, and mainly because I have seen over the years how this school has progressed with respect to heritage activities and the dedication which your teachers, your principal have in this area. And they impart this infectious awareness to all the children. And that is, for us in INTAC, a great achievement, I would say. We have, of course, our director of our Heritage Education Service, Ms. Purnima Dutt here, who has, in fact, spread the message all over the country. And Calcutta is just one area, and she is, I think, much better placed to talk about the subject than I am. I have, let's say, exposure to one area. She has exposure to 200 chapters. So I'm sure she will do a great job when she speaks. But at the same time, your principal, ma'am, has very succinctly put all the various points with respect to the World Heritage Week. As we all know, World Heritage Week is celebrated mainly because to create that awareness amongst people. And we ourselves must realize, as she said, we must reflect and must practice this heritage conservation and protection. Because if it is all in our hands, if we expect that the government does everything, we are sadly mistaken. Government can do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I mean, a simple thing, littering our gardens, public gardens, that the government cannot stop by itself. It's we individuals, the population, the public, who has to realize, who has to stop scratching graffiti on monuments. People must accept their responsibility, and that is why this awareness is so important. I really don't want to say much. I think I have been speaking to you people quite regularly, and you must be saying, oh, fir aa gaya ye bolne ke liye. But the thing is, it's more, I would like others to speak. They are much better placed, as I said. But I would like all of you to take cognizance of the fact that your participation and your active contribution will lead to a better heritage conservation practice. And by heritage, I am talking about built heritage, natural heritage, tangible and intangible heritage, the whole gamut. So when you go back, as Principal Ma'am has said, reflect and then see how you can take it forward for sustaining this heritage. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's always an honor and always a pleasure to be here. And I do hope all of you have a very fruitful week where you will be, I'm sure you have, a program lined up for the week. And we would love to hear from you at the end of the week what all you have done. Thank you very much. All the very best.
Thank you so much, sir. It was truly illuminating. I would now like to introduce our guest of honor, Ms. Purnima Dutt. Ms. Purnima Dutt is the Principal Director in the Heritage Education and Communication Service, HECS, of the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage. She designs and conducts different types of programs for several target groups, INTAC chapters, schools and college teachers and students. She has also started the College Heritage Training and Citizenship Training programs. Dutt and her team run a network of around 3,000 heritage clubs in India to support the schools with resource material. They publish books with interesting information, creative activities, newsletters, etc. Miss Dutt has also worked as education coordinator in World Wildlife Fund, that we popularly call WWF India. We welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I'll request if I could share screen. Trikaya Soni is here with me, our program coordinator. She will put up the presentation. So, namaskar to all of you all, and it's my honor to be here with Mrs. Shunglu and Mr. GM Kapoor from our West Bengal chapter, the convener of our West Bengal chapter, and the amazing teachers of this school who have been with us on our Filmit program for the past 7-8 years, and all of the children who are the members of the Heritage Club. So it's really amazing that you all have taken a topic which is so pertinent today on the impact of climate change on heritage. The COP is on right now, COP 27, and this is what we would say is a very hot topic. So global warming, climate change, and a very hot topic for each one of us to take up, at this point of time. And today starts our Heritage Week, and it goes on till the 25th. And I'm sure you all have designed many activities for this, for this 1 week. And we at INTAC are also doing as much as we can to illuminate, students through our social media, through our activities and our campaigns. So let me start at the very beginning. I'll go on to the next slide. Is what makes Heritage Week so special? Weeks are celebrated just to maybe to reiterate and to re-emphasize our, commitments. And Heritage Week is a week where, we reinforce our commitment to our heritage. And ours is a country, which is just, it's just so diverse. We have so much of rich heritage. And it's, if we take the present moment in time, what we preserve at this moment is what our next generation is going to inherit. So what we do at this point of time, whether it is looking at heritage, whether it's reflecting upon climate change, this is what we're going to carry forward, you children, with even the next few, generations after us. So any alteration which is happening in our, in our natural environment today, if we look at climate, little do we realize how much it impacts, heritage, whether it's a tangible heritage, whether it's an intangible, whether it's our customs and traditions, whether it's our crafts, each and every key area, is being impacted by climate change. So I'll take the next slide. So if we take the climate crisis, I'm sure students, you all are very familiar with all the key points of how climate is impacting, especially staying in Calcutta, where you see Sundarbans, next to you, and see the impact of climate change on the Sundarbans. But maybe I can highlight on 7-8 of the key points, which are a result of climate change. So your first key point is, is air. No, I'll go back to the earlier one. The first key point is, is air pollution. So in climate change, air pollution is one dimension where we are exposed to various kinds of salts, which are impacting our monuments, which are impacting even our crafts, our water bodies, our water table. The second, of course, is the big one, is the rise in sea level. So the rise in sea level is something which you see in the Sundarbans, the effect of that. The third effect is obviously rains and floods. So rains and floods is one extreme impact of climate change. The other extreme impact of climate change is what we see in what we call desertification and the occurrence of droughts. The next thing you notice is the intensity of winds. So even if you say, okay, in West Bengal, you do have tropical cyclones in the month of March, April. There are tropical cyclones in this region in the months of October, November. But the intensity of the tropical cyclones is the key point, because it's your intensity of these climatic occurrences has increased, and our monsoons are no longer the same as they were. That means you have a cyclic monsoon, as you have your rain in a few months of the year, but the months of the year have kind of changed, have extended, and that again is an impact of climate change. And in the mountainous areas, the Himalayas, we see the impact in in your melting of your glaciers, and you see the impact in also what is we call freeze and thaw. And this freeze and thaw is also impacting our monuments, because it increases the weathering of our monuments. Also, biological factors is something we ignore, is how climate change impacts things like fungi, things like algae, and even lichens. So these, are also not only impacting, monuments because they grow on the monument, but they also impact your material heritage. They impact paintings. They impact, your paper, and these are all our material heritage. So these are little things which sometimes we don't notice, is the enormity of, these kind of factors even on our heritage. Maybe children, you would have heard about Ajrak painting. In Ajrak painting, what is used is a lot of water. So today you find the Ajrak painters in Gujarat, do not have water. And because they do not have water, you find they have stopped the painting and they are moving on towards the cities. And as a result, it's a completely, almost you would say, an extinct, craft form. So I'll take the next one, Trikaya. So the Taj Mahal, of course, this is something we all know. The impact of, climate change on the Taj Mahal, the impact of pollution, the impact of acid rain, also the impact of, oxidation. Even the Yamuna is impacting the Taj Mahal because, you have so much of sulfur in the waters of the Yamuna that the evaporation of the Yamuna water also impacts, the Taj Mahal. So the Taj Mahal is in the Indo-Gangetic plain. But now if you look at the next slide, we have so many monuments in our coastal areas. If you take the Konark temple, or you even take the Elephanta caves in Mumbai or Mahabalipuram, these are directly impacted by our coastal changes because of climate change. Even a place like Golconda Fort in Hyderabad is facing the impact of very high rainfall. I'm sure you'll have noticed, children, is in Hyderabad, how the rainfall patterns have, changed. And this is impacting, forts like even your coastal forts. A lot of them, the sea levels are rising, and these are impacting these forts. Next. So, of course, now we come to the Sundarbans. So because I was doing your presentation, I was reading, and it really saddened me when I discovered certain points about the Sundarbans, which are impacted by, climate change. We know about the Bengal tiger, but what I didn't realize is that the water levels here are rising at the rate of 2 centimeter per year. So they say if it's 2 centimeter per year, and if it rises by 28 centimeters, 96% of the tigers would have gone. So think of it, if it's 2 centimeters per year, in 14 years, you'll lose the Bengal tiger, completely. And that is really, very worrying. So it's not only the Bengal tiger, it'll be the dolphin, it'll be your crocodile. It's going to impact all these species in the Sundarbans. But not only that, if you take the human impact of, the rising water in the Sundarbans, you find because the salt water, has increased, and your fresh water, which is needed for cultivation, has reduced. So farming has become less. So your migration of people to your urban areas, especially the Kolkata region, has increased from the Sundarbans. And the sad one, which I really read, was the impact this was having on women, because the women are the community who are left behind. The men have all gone. And these women are forced to stand in the water, for almost 8 hours to 10 hours every day doing, your shrimp. They're taking fish from the sea, and this is impacting the health of the woman. It's impacting, their cycles. They're having more miscarriages. So it is really sad how the lifestyle of people are getting impacted, by climate change. Next. So the water scarcity, migration patterns of animals is impacted, loss of habitats are seen, there's depletion of food resources. Something like a frog. They say the frog's skin is so thin that the climate change is impacting the frog simply because of the effect the climate change is having and on the skin of the animal. Something like a very happy feet penguins. We are going to lose all our happy feet penguins. We're going to lose our beautiful and polar bears. And besides, close to us is the red panda and the snow leopard. These species are also going to get completely lost, which you see in the Gorumara sanctuary. You would see them in even in Arunachal Pradesh and northeastern India. So water demand is something which has risen dramatically, and because of that, you find the glaciers are melting because we are diverting so much of our fresh water. We are using so much of fresh water for cultivation of rice. So you see, it's like a vicious circle. And what happens in Punjab currently in Delhi, where I am, is you have the impact of burning fields from Punjab. And why are these fields burning? Because the straw of the rice is of no use. So what they do is they burn the straw of the rice. What do you need for growing rice? You need so much of water. Where does the water come? Water comes from these rivers, which are losing their glaciers because of the increasing amount of water we are also using. Right? So I told you all about Ajrak. So even if you take handicrafts in Kashmir or your wooden handicrafts, you see the impact of climate change on on these craftsperson. You see the impact of climate change on weavers, and also you find that the climate change is impacting. The next one is the livelihood of people of communities like your Ladakhi communities. Because the climate has changed, you find they can't any longer practice what they were used to doing. Farming is not possible here, whatever little farming they were doing. And even the movement with their cattle is, is impacted. Even if you take Lakshadweep or you take, your Andamans or the bleaching of corals, all of this you find the impact of, climate change. So this sentence which we've put together, which I find very important, is culture and heritage is woven into every strand of our being, and losing it would be akin to losing a limb. Climate crisis has pervaded every aspect of our existence, leaving nothing unscathed. So if we continue to remain idle, we would slowly lose ourselves at the hand of the climate crisis. So finally, what we can do, like ma'am shared about the beautiful projects which are being done on sustainability, and which your school is also doing. So we all have to do a little bit if we want our earth to change, if we want things to change around us. Save your energy at home. Try and walk as much as you can. Take public transport. Try and eat less of non-vegetarian food. Eat more of vegetables. Consider how you're traveling. Yeah, throw less food. Try and eat just as much as you need. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Even something like using a matka instead of using your fridge water, all the time. Change your home source of energy. Switch over to electric vehicles. Use, bulbs which are your CFLs or your LEDs, and make every penny, count, and conserve on it, and always speak up for your rights. And currently, we all need to speak up for climate change. So I thank your school for giving Intact the opportunity to work with you all. And I look forward to all the work which is being done by your school. So thank you so much to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now request our Heritage Club member Raika to proceed with the event.
Thank you, Sudarshan. We will now start with the first segment of the event, the competition. The students of Sri Sri Academy from class 6 to 10 were asked to create posters based on this year's theme, Heritage and Climate. The students were given an option to show the impact of climate on either tangible or natural heritage. We are extremely glad to have received overwhelming responses from our enthusiastic friends. The judges for this event are our very own Miss Mini Bansal and Miss June Dutt. Thank you so much, judges, for taking out your valuable time and judging our event. We shall now share some of the selected posters and request the participants to share their thoughts behind their creations. I request Mahi to kindly share screen. So, let us begin with the first category, which is the tangible heritage. May I now request Soam Kothari of 6E to kindly share his thoughts.
Hello everyone. Climate changes are seriously impacting heritage and biodiversity worldwide. One of the major climate changes is global warming. In India, many monuments and animals are getting impacted by this huge problem. For example, on one hand, the great beautiful Taj Mahal made up of precious stones and white marble is now turning yellowish due to acid rain. On the other hand, the Sundarban tigers who lived happily earlier are now dying because of water shortage and excess heat. We all should take a vow to save world heritage and biodiversity for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Soham. May I now call Manyata Chaturvedi of 6A to share her thoughts.
Good morning to one and all present here. My name is Manyata Chaturvedi and I am from class 6A. Today I will talk about the Gateway of India. I have chosen the Gateway of India in my poster as we all know it is our heritage. The Gateway of India is becoming weak and exposed due to a lot of environmental changes like global warming, natural weathering, and acidic rain. We need to control our adverse activities like pollution, deforestation, spitting on monuments, water seepage from farming irrigation so that we can preserve our heritage for our coming generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Manyata. Now I would like to call Dash Gupta of 6A to share his poster.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Dash Gupta of class 6A and today I am going to speak about how the climate change is affecting the Red Fort. I decided to draw the Red Fort on my Heritage Week poster as I realized that it had been greatly affected by the pollution and climate change in Delhi. Many dust particles settled down on the walls of the fort, leading to the discoloration of the red color of the walls. Thank you.
Thank you, Darsh. We now move on to Shreyansh Banerjee from 6A.
Greetings of the day to all guests, my friends, seniors and teachers. Hi, I am Shreyansh Banerjee from class 6A. Today I am going to share a short speech on heritage, monuments and climate change. It is important to preserve our heritage as these are the real connections to our past. We should protect it for our future generation as culture and heritage shapes human society. Climate change is a threat to the heritage sites. Global warming and air pollution are impacting the sites as well. The iconic Taj Mahal, made up of white marble, is a synonym for India, but it is losing its whiteness and is turning yellow for acid rain. It is thus important to research and look for sustainable options to protect and preserve the iconic heritage sites. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyansh. We now move on to Ritushmita Bera from 9C.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ritushmita Bera of 9C. I have always been invested in history and heritage. For me, my heritage is not only of my own culture, but of the world, as we are all humans on this planet. Roman mythology and architecture have always interested me, and my concern for them is what has been the driving force for my poster. Our inability to do anything against the slow yet steady degradation of the important monuments and our ignorance to protecting them is my motivation for making this poster. My poster conveys what the Italian National Institute for Environmental Protection and Research wants everyone to hear that due to emission of toxic gases like sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide from industries and cars, the important Roman monument, the Colosseum, made from limestone, is at a high risk of deterioration. It sends a message to take small steps to reduce air pollution for the sake of our own heritage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritushmita. We now move on to Gitika Taparia of 7F.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Gitika Taparia of 7F. The poster in front of you is a watercolor paste painting on the topic of impact of climate change on tangible heritage. I believe that monuments are not just buildings, but also a source to the lifestyle of the past generation, and thus it is vital to preserve these beautiful buildings. The hands in the poster represent that the future of these monuments are in our hands. We can either let these monuments be enjoyed by the future generation and survive, or let these monuments get destroyed in a short time span. Thank you.
Thank you, Gitika. Now comes Kushagra Dheer of 8C.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Kushagra Dheer of class 8C and I have made a poster on tangible heritage. Tangible heritage is now being affected due to acid rain and we need to stop burning our fossil fuels, which produces acid rain, and we need to stop the inevitable end of these architectural wonders fading in front of our eyes, since they make our society beautiful and they are the architectural wonders of our world and our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Kushagra. May I now call Raghav Tiwari of 8E to share his thoughts.
Good morning to the honorable judges, respected teachers and dear friends. I am Raghav Tiwari of class 8E and I am here to answer why I've chosen the beautiful Taj Mahal for my poster. This wonderful monument is like a dream built in marble, but this white marble is decoloring and being corroded by the adverse effects of acid rain. But the time to restore it is slowly ticking. My poster helps to bring attention to this wonder of the world before it hits the point of no return. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. May I now call Samriddhi Junjunwala from 8C to share her thoughts.
My greetings to one and all present here. Today, I will talk about global warming. It is a huge topic to discuss on and is a major threat to the life on Earth and even our heritage. One of them being the Statue of Liberty. If the glaciers continue to melt due to global warming at such an alarming rate, it is said that by 2050, the Statue of Liberty will sink. So it is an alarm for us to wake up and be nice to save the ice.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Now comes Shreya Agarwal from 7A.
Good morning to one and all present here. I, Shreya Agarwal of class 7A, will be speaking about this poster I made on tangible heritage to spread awareness among the citizens of our country that how our nation's wonderful memorials are a victim of acid rain, pollution, and climatic change. For example, Taj Mahal, an ivory white marble, is turning yellow. Qutub Minar is degrading, Charminar is turning black, and Red Fort is losing its color. We human beings are creating pollution in several ways, which is causing shrines to fade, monuments destruction, etc. Hence, I conclude by requesting you all to take a step forward by planting more trees and stop using harmful chemicals. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. May I now request Devanshi to call upon our friends from the other category, which is natural heritage. Over to you, Devanshi.
Thank you, Raika. May I request Tapasya Hada of 7F to kindly share her thoughts.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm Tapasya Hada from class 7F. India is a country of cultures and traditions, which include our heritage. Have we ever thought that nature could be part of our heritage and how nowadays it's being affected by numerous climate changes taking place? The Himalayas are melting off, the population of Royal Bengal tigers are decreasing, the Nilgiris are bearing erratic rainfall and higher temperatures. Our heritage belongs to us and we all should pledge for keeping it preserved. If we can't preserve our past, we cannot hope for the future.
Thank you, Tapasya. May I call upon Priyal Bothra of 6F to share her thoughts?
My name is Priya Bothra and I am from class 6F. I am really glad that my poster have been selected. When I got the notice for the poster making, the first thought which motivated me to make the poster was that the people are so selfish. They have now destroyed the mother nature which created them long ago. So I wanted to give them this message to not destroy our heritage. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyal. May I call upon Anirvedh Chakraborty of 6A to share his thoughts about the poster?
Nature beholds the history of mankind. Greetings to all. I'm Anirvedh Chakraborty of Class 6E. My poster is an effort to show the impact of climate change on our natural heritage. Global warming has led to the melting of ice caps, endangering polar bears. Many species of flora and fauna have been wiped out. There may come a time when mankind would be helpless and plead to Mother Nature to revive what is lost. These things were my inspiration to make this poster. I want people to be more aware about the need to save Mother Earth from climate change and global warming, as she is our only home. Let's preserve it for all future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Anirvedh. Our next enlisted participant is Kamakshi Chaudhary of 6D.
Good morning to all. I am Kamakshi Chaudhary of Class 6D. I was motivated to create this poster to portray the pain of Mother Earth, who is weeping because her children's houses are burning down. Her child fauna is homeless and hungry. Mother Earth is becoming old and fragile and losing her shine day by day because of human activities. I would like to thank all the teachers and my parents who inspired me to work in such a great project, which gave me more insight about our own Mother Earth and her children and how due to us the nature is getting destroyed day by day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamakshi. I would like to call upon my friend Vidushi Kedia of 8A.
While flipping through the album, I was awestruck seeing the beauty of the Great Barrier Reef. But alas, my last year's visit to the place disappointed me to the core. Couldn't relate it to the pictures that I saw in the album. Fishes were scanty, the place was polluted, and corals were diminished. Felt that it was grieving.
Thank you, Vidushi. Lavanya Sethia of 6A is the next participant.
Good evening, one and all present here. Nature is a beautiful word crafted by God and gifted to all of us. I am Lavanya Sethia of Class 6A. The poster which I made led a great impact on me. I am proud to make this poster. Through this poster, I am able to express my views and show the importance of nature. While making this poster, I realized that we humans are polluting the nature, which is leading to rising temperature and affecting the animals. So I requested you all to grow more trees than cutting them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavanya. I would like to call Shreyashi Naskar of 8C to share her thoughts.
Global warming and climate change causes the polar ice caps of the Himalayas and many other mountain ranges to melt. This leads to frequent coastal erosions and storm surges, which in turn affects and harms the natural heritage of our country. Through my drawing, I would like to spread the message that snow caps are melting faster. Global warming can cause a big disaster on our nature, on our heritage, and on our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyashi. I would like to call Veer Bhatsali of 6F.
Which one do you choose? The green and alive earth or the lifeless and rotten earth? My poster depicts that the choice is in our hands. We decide whether the demon in our head leads us to mass destruction over greed
Or we follow that little angel trying to show us the right path because it knows that there is no planet B. The way Thanos obliterated half of the people in the universe, and how Joker killed many innocent beings. In the same way, the humans are killing half of the trees on the planet and leaving no sight of green and blue left.
Thank you, V. May I call Yashashvi Sultania of 8C to share the thoughts about the poster.
We have Kingdom Animalia and Kingdom Plante, but we must be Kingdom United to overcome the climate change. I, Yashashvi Sultania of class 8C, was inspired to create this poster by my affection and determination for harmony exchange and not climate change. Now think of Earth as a piece of paper. We scribble on it by deforestation and pollution. We crumble it by hunting the fauna. Now, can we restore the same initial paper? No, right? Exactly. This awareness, alertness, realization, and concern molded my brain and carved my thoughts on the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashasvi. I would like to conclude by calling Charu Dubey of 7F.
Good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Charu Dubey of 7F, would like to present a poster to you on how climate change is affecting our natural heritage. Do you know Adelaide penguins are getting endangered as the icebergs are melting and they need to search for new homes for themselves? Imagine the situation of thousands of parents and children penguins who have to either lose their lives or see their close ones lose their life, which has been tried to present in this poster. With that, we come to an end of the poster presentations. Thank you very much to be such a patient audience.
Thank you, Charu. Each and every participant deserves a round of applause for putting in their time and effort into the lovely creations they presented. I hope no one gets disheartened, as participation is way more important than winning. Thank you all for making this event possible. It's time to move on to the other segment of the event. And for that, may I request our fellow Heritage Club member Mahi Lalwani to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Malika Jalan.
Ms. Malika Jalan is an urban tree planter and a development communication specialist. Focus of her work is on climate and environment action. The impactful documentary Kolkata 2070 has been a powerful tool for driving conversations on climate and environment education. She is a climate reality leader and completed her master's from Cornell University. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. We request you to kindly address the audience.
Hello, everybody. This is me, Malika. Can you make me full screen, or do you have me as full screen? Anyway, so I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to thank, let me just make this, Nikhilesh, let me just make this full screen.
You are full screen.
No, I want to do a screen share. So bad. Give me a minute, please. How do I make it? Okay. So let me.
Ma'am, should I share screen?
I will do that in a minute. So I would like to thank the principal and the management of Sri Sri Academy. How do I do a Zoom full screen? I've called my son to help me. So I would like to thank the management and the principal of your school. I have not had the opportunity to interact with you personally, but I have worked with students and teachers of a few schools of our city. How to do this. I will now share screen and then we will go forward. There is my presentation.
May I just say a word, ma'am? Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we have already got your PPT. If you want, Mahi Lalwani can share the screen for you.
Just give me a minute and I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, how to do it. Okay, actually you haven't given me the screen share rights. So if you give me the screen share right, then I can
Ma'am, we have made you the co-host, so you have the screen sharing rights with you.
Ma'am, you're muted. Could you unmute? We can't hear you.
Okay, so I represent an organization called Center for Contemporary Communication, and we work in the city of Kolkata, and we work with various stakeholders of this city on issues of climate change, awareness, action, projects. We are very, very concerned about the whole issue of sustainability because it is a major threat that we face today. I'm just amazed to hear the level of information and knowledge and awareness that students of this school have. And I must thank JM Kapoor, my good friend, and INTAC at this point, because they invited me to speak with you. It's a tremendous honor for me. So I'm also very happy to see the levels of knowledge that you children have. And I would like to make it very, very interactive. I have a few slides. Once my slides are done, I would like you to ask me questions. So please keep making your notes while I'm speaking so that at the end of it, we can have some interaction. So the first question that first thing I would like to present to you is that am I going extinct? We have talked about frogs, we have talked about Sundarban tigers, we've talked about monuments, we've talked about nature. We haven't talked about I. Am I going extinct? That's the big question that climate change poses to me. Am I going extinct? And that is the question that I would like you to think, because heritage, you and I are all walking heritage. Heritage is not something external to us. Biodiversity is not external to us. We are part of this biodiversity. We are part of the food chain. We are an animal like a tiger. And we keep forgetting that. So we have to think of that I cannot speak of biodiversity without including me, myself, as one of the members of this biodiversity. So if a tiger dies in Sundarban, my life gets affected. It is not that we are losing an animal or we are losing a species. We are losing a part of our survival. We are losing a part of our sustainability. And that's what I would like you to think when we are thinking about heritage. So heritage is, can I have my slideshow? Is it possible or no? Madam?
Ma'am, should we then share the screen? Mahi,
Yes,
can please share the screen?
Okay. Can you share the screen, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are ready with your PowerPoint.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, okay. So how do I make it full screen? Okay, wonderful. So next slide. Okay, so heritage is a crucial factor in the process of our identity formation. Who am I? Heritage defines that. And I am creating heritage every second that I am living. So we have to put ourselves in the center of the whole thing if we really want to address this issue of climate change, because it's not something that is external to us. A monument is something that we have created. Nature is something that we are an integral part of. If a tree falls in Amazon, we are affected. My life is affected. And unless we realize that, I think it's going to be very difficult to solve the climate crisis or to take any action. And it is very important. So a transition that engages with the present, heritage looks to the past, but it is something that is passed into the present as a tradition for a specific purpose. And that specific purpose is survival. Survival not only of that tree or not only of that tiger, but survival of you and me, survival of our parents, survival of our children. And we have to look at it from that point of view. Next slide, please. So all of you have talked about it, and we have seen it that heritage has several dimensions to it. We are focusing too much on just the monuments. We have to look at heritage as there's so many things in heritage. I don't want to read it because you can read it for yourself, but all this is our heritage. The park which is next to your house, when you walk down the road, is also your heritage. Your school is your heritage. What you study in school is your heritage. How do we protect it? Because climate change is now threatening each of these things. And this whole issue of excessive rainfall, the excessive rainfall is one of the impacts of climate change, because what is happening is rain that would fall over 3 weeks or 4 weeks is now falling in 1 day. That is climate change. But are we prepared to handle that? We are not prepared to handle that. Because if you look at our city of Calcutta, we have waterlogging, and one of the predictions for Calcutta is that there's going to be 15 days of waterlogging at a stretch. What do you do? Where do you get your medicines from? Where do you get, you can do your school online, but where will you get your medicines from? Where will you get your aloo and parwal from? Where will you get your eggs from? You're stuck. And one of the reasons that happens is because our infrastructure is not geared to meet this. And it perhaps is not possible to create that infrastructure because even as a world population, we don't have those resources. We don't have that amount of money. So our option is not just to build that infrastructure. Our option is also to stop that rain from becoming heavier and heavier and heavier, which there's a prediction that's going to become. But once again, I will say that please keep yourselves as the center of it. It is affecting me, it is affecting me and I am the heritage. Unless we do that, I don't think we're going to find a solution to this climate change thing. Next slide, please. Okay, so cultural heritage is where I come in. I am the definition of this cultural heritage. The way I cook aloo in my house is not the same way my best friend's aloo is cooked. Why? That is culture. Today, speaking for myself, I grew up in a huge family, and now we have become a 2-member family. I grew up in a 40-member family. The food that I ate 40 years back, today I don't have access to that. I don't have the taste of the food I had in my childhood. Now, that is not because of culture, of climate change. That is because of cultural change. But it is now starting to happen because of climate change. And that is something we have to understand. All these elements that defines me is all undergoing change because of climate change. And as ma'am from Intact pointed out, I don't want to go through it, but climate change basically means that we human beings, through our actions, through the way we live, are creating change in the climate pattern. Now, even if you look at the earth, everything is related. I mean, the climate is related to me. I'm related to the climate. My survival is related to the climate. Climate survival is related to me. So all things that matter to me, that defines me, is completely getting impacted because of climate change. The way the weather around us is behaving now is changing everything in my life. And we have to recognize that. Next slide, please. Okay. So as I was saying, culture is the practice of everyday life of a particular group of people. How I live, what I eat, how I interact, how I talk, what clothes I wear, everything is getting impacted because of climate change. And I'll come to that as we go down my presentation. Next slide, please. Okay. Have you heard of the Solomon Islands? Some hands should go up. So if you look at the Solomon Islands, and if you look at the Kiribati Island in the Pacific Ocean, as you can see, it's close to Australia. These islands are going underwater because what is happening is the sea level is rising around it. And because the sea level is rising around it, to up to 12 centimeters, it has already risen. They are saying that maybe in the next decade or so, these islands will completely go under sea. Now, can you imagine what will happen to the people of these islands? Where will they go? How will their culture and traditions survive? How will their identity survive? Who will they be? Can you imagine yourself not having an identity? Just being a body somewhere on this earth? No family, no friends, no culture, no habits, no language, nothing. I mean, all clones, all robots, or all artificial creatures, because we are devoid of our culture, of our practices. These are the two islands, and if you Google it after the show, you will see they are in the process of going under the water. Much of it is already gone. And they are looking, they're saying, where will we go? If you look at the videos, you will hear them. Where will we go? Where will our culture go? How will my granddaughter learn about this favorite family dish? Because of, and they don't know where they're going to go. No country wants them. No country wants immigrants. So where will they go? And no country is safe from climate change. It's not just about Solomon Islands or Kiribati. Even there's a prediction that New York will go underwater. So it's not really about them. It's really about me and I and my survival. And we have to start looking at heritage from that perspective, and we have to look at the climate change impacts from that perspective. We can discuss it after the presentation. Next slide. So these are the people. This is how they live. Most of the day they are living underwater. They don't want to move. Most of the day, this is how they live. Then when there's low tide, which hardly happens, they have to, the water recedes, but that doesn't happen. So either they leave their country and go, either they leave their families and go, or they just go under the water, which several people do. This is a very real impact of climate change. The entire culture of these people, the entire heritage of these people is going under the water. And we have to stop looking at them as them. We have to start looking at them as us. Next slide. And this is not happening only there. Let me show you. Next slide. Okay, Sundarbans. What man said about Sundarbans is all true. Sundarbans is not so far from Calcutta. It's only 120 kilometers. If you drive, it will take you 2.5 to 3 hours to get there. I don't know how many of you have been there. But the story of Kiribati is happening in Sundarbans. And how far apart are they? They are apart by 2,000, 3,000 kilometers. I haven't checked that, but must be so. And Sundarbans is 120 islands, and about 5 lakh people live there. There are 5 lakh people there, divided by as many numbers as you went, those many families, those many culture, those many monuments, those many everything. Next slide, please. And this is what is happening to Sundarbans. You all have heard of Amphan, you all have heard of Aila, you all have heard of Bulbul. These cyclones did not come to Calcutta, they came to Sundarbans. But the impact of that was felt in Calcutta. And all I want to say is, don't think of Sundarbans as 120 kilometers away. Think of Sundarbans as Calcutta. Because it's coming. You know, there was a time when our Moidan was part of Sundarbans. Then with human development, etc., it receded and went 120 kilometers because development happened, not development, concretization happened, cities came up, villages came up, towns came up. But this is exactly what is happening in Sundarbans now, and this is not different from Kiribati. This is not different from Solomon Islands. It's not about the migrants who will come to Calcutta, it's about this rain coming to Calcutta, this water coming to Calcutta, and it is coming. Next slide, please. This is Bangalore. Not so different from Sundarbans. Next slide. This is Delhi. Water is not the only impact of climate change. As somebody said, there is air, there's desertification. I'm focusing on water just to drive home a point, to tell you that we are right in the middle of it. It is not only the Sundarbans tiger. And when I say we mean heritage, I mean my culture, I mean my nature, I mean my monuments, everything. Next slide, please. So this is Mumbai. Doesn't look much different from Sundarbans. Next slide. And of course, where do I go? I go to New York. This is New York. Please understand, we are all in it together, and this is Paris. Does it look any different from Karibati and Sundarbans? It doesn't. So where do you go? Next slide, please. I've just put this slide to tell you that there's also desertification that's happening. And because of that, there's huge number of migration happening from Africa to Europe. So Africa migration into Europe is not happening only because of political unrest in Ukraine or other places. It's also happening because of climate change. People are leaving their home and going. We are getting lost. Their heritage is getting lost. And it is a huge loss. If we lose this heritage, it's a huge loss for mankind, and we have to start seeing it that way. We have to think of ourselves as one amongst the 8 billion people on this earth, because we have become 8 billion. Yesterday, I read in the papers that the world population has become 8 billion today. Next slide, please. Our beloved Kolkata. It's not happening at the airport, it's happening right under my house. And that water is going to come into my house. Next slide, please. Next slide. Kolkata. Thank you, ma'am. We'll go a little slow. This is Kolkata. Replace this woman with yourself, or your family, or your child. Climate change is that real. Look at this woman here in the red kaftan. Look at these people on the roads. Have you been ever stuck in this situation yet? It's coming. Next slide, please. So migration is not an option. I'll go and live in the United States, I'll go and live in Europe, I'll go and live in Australia or New Zealand is not the option, because it's happening everywhere. They can manage it better for today, but tomorrow when the real impact comes, they also can't manage it. It's happening everywhere. Next slide, please. So yeah, somebody mentioned this and I was very happy to see that in the poster, that it's a cliche, we've heard it so many times, but I think we have to relate to it. And we have to look at the planet holistically, and we have to see ourselves as part of it. And it's really not the planet that is going anywhere else. The inhabitability of the planet for us is what is going. Planet will stay where it is. We've gone through 5 mass extinctions. This is the 6th mass extinction. So there will be mass extinction. Dinosaurs went, we will also go. But we have the intellect, we have the ability to not go, to make things happen. And that is what I'm calling for action. Next slide, please. That can we not become extinct like the dinosaurs? Now, last slide, please. So what I'm trying to say is that we take up projects, which is great. Even I have taken up a project. I'm planting trees in Calcutta, because that is one of the most important mitigation steps. But I think the main thing is to live sustainable lives. And what does sustainability mean? Sustainability means, am I adding to the resources that I have inherited, or am I depleting it? When we use coal again and again and again, and this is not such a good example, but I'm just telling it, it adds to climate change. It's a major contributor, but at the same time, this coal is also depleting. When we cut a tree, we are depleting the resources, we are not adding to the resources. So we have to really think that when we say another cliche, the time to act is now, which is also a cliche. We've heard it so many times. What does it really mean? And I will again put to you that please put yourself in the center of this heritage. Define heritage as yourself. And see how you can protect it through action now. Personalize it. Because unless you personalize it, I don't think we're going to find a solution. In my life, because of several reasons and several incidents, I have personalized it. And I realized that there is no way, no other way. That's my understanding of my reality. And I'm sharing it with you. You have to decide for yourself. So projects are great. You must do them. You must create awareness. Very, very important. We have to reflect for impact. Very, very important. But what is the impact? The impact is becoming sustainable, which means continue to add resources so that life on Earth and becomes richer and richer and richer for ourselves and for our next generations. So I went shopping one day, and you youth, you are the future, you have the power. I went one day to buy something, and the guy in front of me had carried a bag, jute bag. And I asked him, I'm so impressed with you, sir. You've carried a bag. And he said, I have no option. My grandchild at home will not allow a single plastic at home. If there's a single plastic at home, my grandchild creates a big scene. The point is, you have to understand that you can make this difference. You are the principal actors in this game. And that poor elderly man, he must be 70-year-old, had carried that bag from home just because his grandchild will not have it any other. So you are the hope for human species. I won't say planet. Planet will survive. You are the hope for the survival of human beings as a species. And the time to act is now. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you very much, whoever helped me with the slides. That's it. Now I'm open to questions if there are any. Thank you, ma'am. You can disagree with me. I'm absolutely open to that.
We thank
Good
you,
morning,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing what you did. So I just wanted to say that because there is increased migration due to climate change, like we just discussed, there's no easy way by which the people can go back to their native countries. So do you think it is possible to promote their culture in the immigrated places?
Certainly. I mean, I'll speak for our Indians who have gone to other countries out of choice, not as climate change refugees, but they have migrated. And they are trying to continue with their culture and they're trying to survive it. But what about India? What about home? And the sense of home, you have to understand what is home. And once you understand it, you will realize that I don't want to migrate. I want to live in my home. I want to live with my family. And you can't because the water is gushing in. Then what do you do? So is migration the best option? Can we find another solution? Can we act? Can we do something? Because it is still a little far out. And this is the time when we can act. So we should not look at migration as the solution. I can migrate. What about that mandir down the road, which I used to go to every day? Or the masjid down the road, or a church down the road, which I used to go every Sunday or Friday. What about that? Can it move with me to America or to wherever? Do you think that's a loss for you?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the spices you get in your kirana shop? Can it move with you? We have to look at it that way. And countries cannot afford to take in so many migrants because they are struggling with their own issues. Today, entire Europe is burning with this issue of migration. They're saying we can't afford to have them because they are impacting the culture of the home country. And they don't want that culture gone. You see, so it's leading to immense amount of human conflict, which somebody talked about today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Good question.
We thank you, ma'am, for enriching words. It was very informative and engaging. We have few questions for you, ma'am. Would you like to take this?
Yes, of course, one at a time. And
I would like to call.
I want to just say one thing. In case if I don't have an answer, I will do my research and mail it to your teachers. But I'll try to answer them. Go ahead.
For the first question, I would like to call Veer Bansali.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I had a question. So, ma'am, if we cut down trees, if we plant trees, then how does it help if people keep cutting it down every time?
Very good question. It's not just the people who cut it down, it's those who are in charge also cut them down. And just as I'm raising a son right now, my son is 15 years old. How long does it take for you to become an independent, functional member of the community? Not before you're 30 years old, right? A tree also takes 30 years to grow. We have to know every time we cut a tree or allow somebody else to cut a tree, we are cutting 30 years of our heritage. So we have to stop them. We have to create a culture in our homes, in our community, that trees cannot be cut. Just as there is this thing that you can't murder another guy or another person. But unfortunately, that is supported by law. We don't have any legislation yet, really seriously, which says you can't cut a tree. There is. The forest department says you can't cut a tree without taking my permission, but they won't hang you for that. Like they'll hang you if you kill a person. So we have to fight for that kind of a legislation. We have to say we want a legislation where anybody who cuts a tree will be hanged. That's an extreme example. What I'm trying to say is that you have to fight for what is your heritage. You have to fight for what is yours. You have to put yourself in the middle of this whole thing. Because a tree can be cut in 10 minutes. It takes 30 years to grow. So every time you cut a tree and you plant a sapling, you have to know that I'm cutting 30 years of my heritage away. Glacier is not only my natural heritage. A tree in the backyard of my house is also my natural heritage. And we have to protect it. And we only can protect it. There's nobody coming in from outside to protect it. Thank you. Next question.
Ma'am, I would like to call Tapasya Hada for that question.
Sure.
Ma'am, I would like to ask that why was Chipko movement, which was held, removed from the syllabus? It's a very important topic nowadays, and we are not aware of it much.
Look, you see, several things are not in our hands. Chipko movement is a very, very important movement because it shows what human initiative can do to protect the environment. If you take a step forward, the humanity is taking 100 steps forward. So if they have removed it and you feel that it should be there, then there are two ways you can do it. One is you can take the longer road, which is lobbying with the state education department and asking them to bring it in. And the other is do it in your school as part of your heritage club. And you can do an awareness program where you take up this very, very important, significant movement and you present it to your entire school, not only members of the Heritage Club, you present it to other schools in your inter-school meet. Okay? Thank you, good questions. All your questions are so great, I'm so impressed.
Lastly, I would like to call Yashashri Sultania for the question.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that sometimes it's just the appeal of the most popular aspect of a particular area that covers up the dangerous threat that is affecting it. For example, we are more concerned and bothered about the Sundarban tigers or the royalty of the Taj Mahal or the massiveness about the Red Fort. So why do you think the media does not give enough attention to the other problems of a particular place?
Good question. I think the media does not give attention is because you are not giving enough attention. The media is very concerned about what is popular, what is chalit, what everybody is interested in. They'll talk about that. But you have to make an agenda out of it. You have to say, this is important, please talk about it. And you have to find, you don't have to look to others to give you solutions. You are a very privileged member of this community. You've had education in an institution like Sri Sri Academy. We look forward to you and your other children of your school to give us solutions to these very, very important problems. You have to take leadership. You have to say, okay, this is it. And you have to do it in your small little way. Take a first step forward and other steps will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your interactive session. May I now request the judges to kindly share their thoughts and announce the winners of the poster making competition.
Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here on this platform because it was such an enriching session for all of us, for our students. And I would like to thank all our guests who have provided us with such wonderful knowledge. But at the same time, I would like to say that due to unfavorable circumstances, both our judges are not here, and therefore I would like to announce they have already given their sheets of judgment, and looking at that, we would like to announce the results. So for tangible heritage winners, there's the third runner-up, which is to be shared jointly by Darsh Gupta 6A and Kushagra Dheer of 8C. For second position, it is Samriddhi Junjunwala of 8C. And for the first and the winner is Soham Katari of 6E. A big round of applause for all of them who has really put a wonderful effort, and they have done a marvelous work. It was really difficult for all the judges to decide which posters are actually the better, and with a little bit of minimum marks here and there, they have been able to decide who is the winner. With the flora and fauna, which is intangible heritage, the third position is being shared by Vidushi Kedia of 8A and Lavanya Sethia of 6A. Second position is being again shared by Charu Dubey of 7F and Anirvedh Chakraborty of 6E jointly. And the winner for the intangible heritage is Priyal Bothra of 6F. With that, I would like to end. Thank you very much. And congratulations to all our winners.
I'd just like to say that each one of them is a winner who's taken out this time, who's worked for this. So we'd like to display these, all the participating attempts should be displayed on the board. So the rest of the school who is and may not be here should also get to see what the children's thought. So we can have it displayed over 2-3 floors. All right, so congratulations to you again. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your meaningful comments and enlightening words. I would also like to congratulate the winners and all the participants. We have now come to the end of this event, and I would like to call our respected Vice Principal to share her thoughts.
Good morning. It was indeed a pleasure to see all your displays and to hear from our guests. It's really alarming, and we need to rise up and work towards our responsibilities. So I hope all of you have understood what you need to do. Thank you. We look forward to such awareness programs in future. Thank you. And congratulations to all the winners and the participants.
Thank you everyone for being such a patient audience. I would like to request Nishant to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Raika, could you just take it over? I think there is a network error with Rishan's video. Just take
There
it
is
over.
a technical glitch. I guess Rishan has gone out of the meeting. So on behalf of the Heritage Club of Sri Sri Academy, I would like to thank our respected principal, Ms. Suvina Shunglu, who has facilitated the organization of this event and has always been encouraging and supportive of the activities of the club. My sincere thanks to Sri G.M. Kapoor, Ms. Purnima Dutt, and Ms. Malika Jalan for taking out time from their busy schedule and enlightening our students. I also take this opportunity to express our gratitude to our Vice Principal, Gargi Banerjee, Rita Das Gupta, for providing the necessary logistics for this meet. I would like to thank Ms. Bansal, Ms. June Dutt for taking time out of their busy schedules to be a part of the celebration. We are forever indebted. Thank you. And last but not the least, my heartfelt thanks to the students as well as the teachers of the Heritage Club for their interest and time taken to put this event together and make it a success. Thank you again.
We have come to the end of the program. Thank you, guests. Thank you, judges. Thank you, everybody. We may now